Sure. Hi, everybody. First of all, congratulations to Mark, his staff, and their team. I mean, there's a reason they're #1 for sure. And I thought for a while today we battled pretty hard. And I'm proud of our team, our club, the way they prepared, and the way we really competed for quite a bit of that game. As I said to the team in the locker room, we knew this was a tall order. We had experienced a 2-game set out here early December, so we knew what to expect. But I thought our kids did a real good job. They really dug down deep and played a lot of heart. And at the end of the day, obviously, Wisconsin just had a bit more. And but there was never any giving up from our team, and so I think our kids can hold their heads high. And you know, and for us, we talked about it in the locker room. Our seniors, 2 of them are here, and you know, their legacy is we won a CHA championship last weekend. We hadn't done that previously, and they got us here. And I think for our younger players, it's inspiring to come to a place like this where our sport is so well embraced. It's a fantastic atmosphere. It's just fun to be part of it. It'd been nice to walk away from here with a W, but for our sport and for all the hard work that these kids have put in for 3 and 4 years, to earn a right to play here against a team, a great team, and in this environment, it was pretty awesome. And so, I congratulate Wisconsin, and they're going to be a tough out in the Frozen Four. And I guess we'll have to see next week what happens. But so I'll turn it over to the players.
I guess anyone who wants to answer it. You guys were able to block a lot of shots, make it very difficult around the front of the net for Wisconsin to get any good looks. Was that a little bit of the game plan to make it difficult for them to have an open shot?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that we worked on. We had a lot of things that we really wanted to focus on going into this weekend. We played them back in December, so we were pretty familiar with the kind of players they have and the systems they play. So we kind of wanted to adjust what we did and really just focus on playing a simple game and just really work on what we're really good at. And that's something that we kind of pride ourselves on, especially going into the season and then throughout the course of the season. So that was definitely one of the things that we really wanted to focus on coming into the week.
Was probably the first period that you guys wanted to have. You really slowed the game down for them and kind of kept them off their toes. What did you guys talk about in the first intermission and sort of how to keep that going and not sort of let down?
We knew we had to work hard to beat a team like this. We knew we had to do all the little things right, getting the pucks out, winning the battles. We all believed that we could do it, and I think that's something that we really prided ourselves on, and just working hard. And obviously they're a really good team. So, but I'm so proud of this team and everything that we did, and especially to keep it so close for so long. And we worked so hard, and I'm proud.
Lindsay, can you compare the feelings of walking out of here December, the feeling like maybe there was a long way for you guys to go, and to leave here tonight and see that you were right there with the best team in college hockey for a lot of this game?
Yeah, it was definitely a different feeling. We came here in December and we got a feel for what they're all about, and so we knew that they were going to come hard. And when we came back, we were a different team. I think walking to this rink today, we were a totally different team. We had a different game plan, and our heads were in a different space. So I'm super proud of the way the girls, we persevered through that, from coming down before and then coming back up. And we stuck to our game plan and we put up a good fight, and I couldn't be more proud of this team for doing that and keeping it within reason for up until it was a very close game till the end there.
You good?
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Oh, okay, sure. Sure. Geez, I thought I was out of here. No, that's all right. That's fine.
I guess what did you guys talk about with them at the end of that first period? And I mean, do you agree that that's pretty much how you wanted that first period to go?
Yeah, I felt we were managing the puck pretty well, you know, just under pressure, get it out, under pressure, get it deep, and manage our changes, manage our ice time, because they're a really quick team, and you got to be careful, because every time you get that puck deep, if you try to change, they got to make one pass, and it's on that far blue line. They're really good. The thing about Wisconsin is that they're so good. You know, they have a lot of skill, but they play their systems well, and they do the things. They keep the game pretty simple. They do those things, the basics, the fundamentals really well. You know, and I reminded the team that they're not going to back down, because one of their strongest attributes, in my mind, is how hard they work. They're a very skilled team from top to bottom, but boy, do they work. And so we talked that we really, it's a tough change in the second period, and that far defenseman, that far forward, you cannot come off. You know, you got to stay out there. There was one kid that got number 6, got stuck out there for about 2 minutes. But because they're so quick in transition, they work so hard. And so just, you know, we don't go into a defensive shell, but at the same time, because I thought we had 3 or 4 grade A chances in the first. And it would have been a different ball game had we maybe popped one. I felt maybe there should have been a call. I don't want to get into that right before their first goal. But had we come out of that maybe 1-1, you know, you feel a little bit better. But even, you know, just trying to maintain just the structure of getting it deep when we had to. And then you got to get a bounce. You got to convert when you get your chances. We had some 3-on-2s, but we had a couple 2-on-1s, and you just got to convert. And so, because we knew we weren't going to get a lot of chances. I look at the attempted shots, and it's pretty scary at the end of the day. So we needed to really, we had a small window of opportunity offensively. And so, and then Campbell was there when we got chances. I know Brooke had 2 great chances throughout the game, and she just didn't cash in. So, but getting back to that first intermission, it was really get ready for it, you know, because just we knew they would start to pour it on, and I just think our energy sort of waned later in that period, and then we regrouped. I thought going into the third, and just try to keep it simple, and then at some point you got to try to crank it up, because when it was 2-0. You got to change the forecheck a little bit. We got to get a little more aggressive, and that's when I think you're vulnerable, and we were.
You could see the effort, the energy from your players of the 5 in the D zone, blocking shots and you know, cutting off the middle and not letting a lot of passes through there. Was that kind of the emphasis going in to put everything you had out there, because it was going to keep coming in waves the way Wisconsin plays?
Well, literally, when we went to our CHA playoffs, we had to play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 games in 3 days, and the toughest of the games was Thursday against Mercyhurst, and we went into that game where it's just lay it on the line. You know, season's over, careers are over. We don't win tonight, and the kids really picked up on that. And just a little bit, just pulling back a little bit. I mean, we've had an up and down year. At one point, I think we lost 8 or 9 or whatever it was, but. You know, we had 6 scholarship kids out at one point. We had some sickness. Lindsay had mono. She played with it for a month, then she sat out a month. And so we had some ups and downs, but to go into last Wednesday with a full lineup, and the kids pretty healthy, it was just for the kids, all of a sudden, here we go. And so we adopted that mentality primarily on Thursday, blocking shots, getting pucks out, and just carried it into the championship game against Robert Morris. And everything seemed to go our way offensively. That game, we were really clicking, but we still maintained that mentality defensively. And so it's kind of easy just to talk about it before the game today, just continue doing what got you here. And so we just tried to maintain that, just block shots. You know what they're going to do. You played them, we're prepared for them, and just, but at the same time, just have have your wits about you. I say that a lot to them. Just don't panic. And that started to set in at times today. When you could have just turned and gone with it, and we just gave it right to them. And you can't do that against a team like this. They just throw it right back at you. And so you know, that mentality, you just start scrambling a little bit, and that leads to, it gets a little chaotic with your in-zone coverage, and that leads to just, yeah, you're just desperate. You're blocking shots, you're trying to throw it out. And, but I'd like to think that our underclassmen now, they've got a taste of it, and now they know what it takes to get here. And now we got to figure out what it's going to take to get here and then move on.
Sort of building on that, I mean, nobody wants to talk about moral victories at a time like this, but what your team has sort of, you talked about a bunch this week about this is a different team than you were in December, and that was totally evident on the ice. Sort of seeing what this team is capable of and building off this has to be huge for your program.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've had junctures during the season, you know, where we really pulled it together, and the team, you know, we lost to Clarkson in overtime. We had a couple good battles with Cornell. We had good games with Colgate. We played BC tough, teams that are in the tournament. And we've known all along when we really play hard and play the way we have to play, you know, just really making sure that we control the things that, you know, are doing a good job of the things we can control, our effort, our attitude. And so the one thing when we play well, and I just talked to them in the locker room, is that, you know, and this doesn't show up in the statistics, is we really hung together. You know, so it's easy when you're playing well to stick together. We did that. But when we had that long losing streak, or we had some real disappointing losses, these kids, they stuck together. And that's something that's really difficult to manage as a coach. And you can preach it, but these kids did a good job. And that's kudos to our leadership, because we could have imploded a while ago, and they didn't. We got, like I said, we got everybody back, and I really think they felt that, you know, play the way, the structure that we need to play, and we can beat anybody. We can hang with anybody. And so the last 10 days have been pretty good for us.
From having played both of them, how do you see a Clarkson-Wisconsin game looking next week? I mean, it's pretty high talent on both ends there.
Yeah, but you know, certainly check mark to Wisconsin for depth, for sure. Clarkson's got that real dynamic line. You know, they have a couple of kids on the blue line. Because we played them twice, I would have to say, and having played Wisconsin 3 times, there's a lot more depth. Clarkson, though, you know, lately they know how to win, and so they're sort of battle hardened when it comes to NCAA competition. So it's going to be interesting, but I do think that you know, Mark has an advantage with just his depth, and so with that depth, overall team speed is a lot better. I mean, Gable and Giguère are really fast and really talented, but there's a lot more weapons here. I mean, we just talked about as coaches, it's clearly the best team we've played all year, clearly. And it's, you know, and we didn't play Minnesota. We were in a tournament, and I wouldn't tell the Minnesota people this. I mean, they had a ton of skill. But I keep going back to the way Wisconsin works and how fundamentally sound they are. And you work hard and you're fundamentally sound and you got a lot of talent, and that's pretty scary. I would be really surprised if they can't, you know, if they're not hoisting the trophy next Sunday. I'd be really surprised, but.
Just really quick, some words on your goalie, who, I mean, when Addie in net tonight was really great. I mean, when Annie beat her, she was beating her on shots that are going to beat most any goalie.
Yeah.
I thought she had a career high in saves and just played a really good game.
Yeah, she's a great story. I mean, she's one of those, I see Grant over there, he's a coach, he knows. In the recruiting realm, I was at a game, and Gilmore Academy was playing, and I knew Rick Filigera was her coach at Gilmore, and told me to take a look at her. You know, so much for recruiting, you know. He told me I was there to see somebody else, take a look at her, and she's a really good student, excellent student. And coincidentally, her mother had once been a professor at Syracuse, so there was kind of a connection. But she came as a walk-on, and she's been sitting around as a third-string goalie her first 2 years, barely playing, and she got in and out of lineup or in starts this year, but we made a decision going into last Thursday's game because she swept Mercyhurst late in the year, and because Maddie Welch had been our starter. But it's like, Maddie swept them down there, so let's go with it. And so she beat them, and then we went with her against Robert Morris, and it was kind of a no-brainer today. But it's a great story. I mean, a kid that just was looking for a place to play. She has a unique style. She kind of stays up on her feet because she's smaller, and she's pretty athletic, but she's just not dropping. She stays up and kind of moves a little differently than most goalies. And in today's world, goalies are just dropping, and good shooters are picking corners. And so maybe that threw Wisconsin off a little bit because Maddie played the 2 games out here earlier. So we weren't really trying to throw anybody a curveball other than Addie deserved the start.